Hey guys, welcome to my video on Chat GPT. So I know this is a little off topic from what I usually talk about with JavaScript concepts, coding tutorials, etc. But today this has been a topic that's been taking the storm recently, and I did want to mention my take on it. And I'll start with what happens with Chat GPT is, how does it work. Well, I'll give you guys some examples. And on top of that, I'll also talk about how ChatGPT will not take your job as a developer and how it can actually provide not only new jobs but also assist developers in their overall work. So, ChatGPT is a chatbot launched by OpenAI around November, and what happens is it's fed a large amount of data that's fine-tuned with both supervised and reinforcement learning techniques. ChatGPT helps solve a lot of questions in very detailed and well laid out responses, and these ultimately help people all around the workforce from bloggers, YouTubers, developers, and even researchers. It can also help with artists and their song lyrics. I've seen this happen. But overall, it is a great tool, and I'll start with some examples to showcase how effective this is. So, I mean, in this scenario, I actually wrote a question, very simple question. Write me a news article on how people can be immortal in the future. So what happens is that ChatGPT actually gives me a whole blog article over here, very detailed information, and realistically, I can just take this blog article and chuck it in a website that I have, and then this will look authentic from other people's perspectives. I do believe there is an AI that's coming out that's actually able to detect AI written text, but I'm not sure if that's completed yet. It might come out later on in the future, but it seems like something that could be used to counteract scenarios like this. But yeah, ChatGPT, very useful tool. It can help you with blog articles, but not only that, it can also help you give you information on coding tutorials, such as in this case, how do I solve a for loop in optimal time? Very vague question, but it does give me a very vague response with a lot of options to help understand more scenarios for myself for better learning. And it also helps you with writing very mundane tasks, such as in this example I have, write me a very HTML script for a landing page. Now in this case, it's writing me an HTML script for a landing page here. Very simple, but I can actually add more detail into it. So write me an HTML script for a landing page with autumn style in it. So, yep, as you see, it says here's an HTML script for a landing page, autumn style. And you can notice in the styling over here, it's actually adding that whole autumn effect. Now I'm actually going to take this landing page, I'm going to open it on a new tab to show you guys how efficient this is on just making, like, it's just writing all your code. So like imagine this is something you would do for an hour, and then you end up just writing something like this, very simple to Chat GPT. And then if you really wanted some to fine tune some paragraphs, etc., you could just change the text in, but you don't actually have to modify the structure of your HTML. And boom, you have like a whole page, landing page. So uh, that's pretty much how ChatGPT works. You feed it some questions, it'll give you very detailed responses, and these can help you with a lot of scenarios, like I mentioned. So we'll bring it on to the next question, which is, does ChatGPT take your job away as a developer, or will ChatGPT take your job away as a developer? And well, the answer is no. It cannot take your job away as a developer, and there's a lot of issues as to why. Uh, I can actually provide one issue right now where it's a little bit buggy because at the end of the day, right now it is, it's just been released for research purposes and it's like free to use. But you can see here it already messed up where it didn't really finish the entire HTML script. Rather, it ended at the end with the description breaking over there. So there's a limit, I'm assuming, to how much it can type out for you guys. But on top of that, its data is based on public data, and that public data is open source code or coding projects or tutorials online, but it never really involves enterprise level code, and enterprise level code is very private data which a lot of companies do not want to share. So ChatGPT cannot use that information. Another scenario where ChatGPT doesn't really help, which developers can better off be there, is that companies have their own approaches when it comes to coding, and it may not align with whatever GPT responds with. So What I'm trying to say is that that doesn't mean that the AI is giving you something more efficient than the company, and the company should shift their entire idea to Chat GPT. No, what I'm trying to say is that the approach may be the approach may be different, but the overall efficiency of both ends still works and is still optimal. However, we might be using a library in this company um, for different reasons, such as making sure developers know how to code better in this language or understanding this library. So we just use this style rather than following the conventional style, which ChatGPT would probably respond with. So at the end of the day, stuff like this are scenarios, and other scenarios can help with this issue. One of the things, another thing I did want to mention actually, is that the pool of data, despite it, it's not only is it based on public data, but it's also limited by how much you feed it. Because at the end of the day, it's an AI, and how much you can give to it is how much it can respond with. So in this example, if there's an HTML script that we say autumn cell, etc., it's only going to be given a certain amount, so it will never always be very tightly answered to whatever you want. It will give you some things that you like, but it won't always be optimized to your exact answer. You would have to do some modifications yourself, and that's where a developer needs to come in to add those modifications. Because at the end of the day, if you have a snippet of code that ChatGPT is providing for you, but some of the values are not how it seems, and you want to change it, who's going to change it? A developer will change it. So, that being said, at the end of the day, ChatGPT is a chatbot. Its goals aren't really directed into taking over your developer role, but it's more to serve as like a resourceful chatbot for, conversations, etc. I would say GitHub Copilot is more optimized, but that's a whole other video, and I'm not too sure if I want, you know, th- I'll let GitHub Copilot take my job. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I mean, with the anxiety out of the table, I'll mention how ChatGPT can actually improve your job. So a lot of developers will not have to hassle with mundane tasks. Just like how I mentioned earlier, where it can provide you very detailed responses for your HTML code over here, you'll notice that at the end of the day, that code may not be tightly knit to whatever you want, and a developer will need to step in to add those finishing touches to make sure it's styled perfectly to what you want. But on the bright side, the developer does not have to sit down and write the head, title, styling, etc. Because ChatGPT will write all that for you. All they'll really realistically do is, maybe the color over here for my background doesn't seem nice. Let me change it to another color, and boom, that's all they do in their end. Maybe change a text here, etc. Saves you so much time as a developer, so it optimizes your efficiency and helps you with all that. And not only that, but on top of it, it can also help you with questions that you would otherwise spend time thinking about, such as in this scenario, what I provide over here. How do I solve a loop for optimal time? Probably not the best question I could use right now, but yeah, it does solve that for you. Or maybe if you want to write, how can I write a sorting algorithm for in C for using hash sort? I'm not sure. Like a lot of scenarios you can use that to like help you with simple questions that you would otherwise spend time thinking about or crunching your brain for. So at the end of the day, it does improve a lot of developer jobs by optimizing them. I do think it can take over certain jobs which are very mundane, which just require you to write an article such as mentioned above. But I do think this works for now. However, in the future, this idea of blog articles being written by ChatGPT would eventually be scraped, because there will be software in the future, I guarantee, that would be able to recognize AI written text, and I'm not sure how that will affect the blog industry or the newsletter industry, media, etc. But we'll see how that works in the future. At the end of the day, ChatGPT will not take your job. As a developer, you are fine, and I hope that helps with the anxiety that everyone is having about this. That is my take on it. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll see you another day. Goodbye.